Welcome back to Limitless Mentality, where we discuss profound psychological truths to help you improve your life. Today, we're diving into something few truly understand: the hidden impact of suffering on your soul. If you've ever asked yourself, "Why am I going through this?" or felt like life was breaking you down for no reason, stick around, because what we're about to explore will completely change the way you view pain. Most of us go through life with a quiet belief that we're in control, that if we just do everything right, eat clean, work hard, be kind, we'll be safe from chaos. But suffering walks in, uninvited, and wrecks that illusion. A breakup, an illness, the loss of a job. It hits you like a storm you didn't see coming. And here's the deep truth. When suffering removes control, it creates space for surrender. Psychologists call this ego death, the collapse of the self-image you've carefully crafted. And while it feels like destruction, it's actually the soul's opportunity for rebirth. When you're no longer clinging to control, you're open to truth, depth, and meaning in ways you never were before. Pain doesn't just hurt, it awakens. When everything is fine, it's easy to go numb. Routine, comfort, and distraction lull your soul into autopilot. But suffering, it jolts you awake. You start to feel deeply again. You question everything: your purpose, your beliefs, your relationships. This is what Carl Jung meant when he said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Suffering forces you to confront who you really are, beyond the surface. And that confrontation, that's the beginning of real transformation. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think suffering weakens you, but it doesn't. It humbles you. And in that humility, your spirit begins to strengthen. Think of it like this. When a tree is hit by a storm, it sheds weak branches, but its roots grow deeper. The same thing happens in your soul. Pain strips away the ego, the part of you that wants to look strong, be admired, and stay comfortable. What's left is something far more powerful: resilience, compassion, and inner truth. That quiet strength, that's your soul taking over where the ego used to dominate. You know who has the softest hearts? People who've been through the hardest things. Suffering makes you see others differently. Suddenly, that person you used to judge, now you understand them. That stranger's sadness hits differently. That friend's silence makes sense because you've been there, and that changes everything. Empathy isn't learned through textbooks. It's born through experience. And that's why the most soulful people often have the darkest pasts. They've walked through fire, and now they help others find their way out. Pain has a way of revealing what's real. The fake friends disappear. The distractions lose their appeal. The masks start to crack. Suddenly, you see clearly. You realize who truly cares. You notice what really matters. And you know what else? You start to become more authentic yourself. Because when you're hurting, there's no energy left for pretending. This is where soul alignment begins. You stop living for the applause and start living from truth. There's something about people who've suffered that you can't put into words. It's in their eyes, the way they speak, their presence. They carry depth, gravity, wisdom. You can't fake that. You can't buy it. It's earned, in silence, in tears, in the moments no one else sees. That's why your soul often develops more in the dark than in the light. Just like diamonds are formed under pressure, your deepest power is formed in pain. Here's a truth most overlook. Suffering can be a spiritual invitation. When everything falls apart, many people start asking deeper questions. Why am I here? What's the meaning of all this? Is there something beyond this life? This shift is what ancient mystics call the dark night of the soul, a painful but sacred process where the soul begins to seek what the ego never could. You begin to crave truth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and authenticity over approval. And once the seeker awakens, you can never go back. One of the hardest yet most freeing lessons pain teaches is this. You can't hold on to everything. You can't save every relationship. You can't fix every past mistake. You can't control every outcome. In letting go, you find peace, not because things are perfect, but because your soul learns to trust the journey. Buddhist psychology often teaches that suffering is born from attachment. And when suffering breaks your attachments, it may feel like loss, but it's actually liberation. You stop gripping so tightly to what's fading, and you start opening up to what's real. Think about the people who've helped you the most in life. Were they perfect? No. They were people who understood, people who had been there. Suffering gives you something rare, credibility of the soul. You've walked through the valley. You've survived the storm. So, when someone else is struggling, your words carry weight. Not because you're better, but because you've been broken too. And now, your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Let's end with this. There's a Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The cracks aren't hidden. They're highlighted, made more beautiful because of the break. That's what suffering does to your soul. It doesn't leave you shattered forever. It remakes you, refines you. And the parts you thought were ruined, they become your radiance. You begin to glow, not because you've never been broken, but because you have embraced the breaking. That glow, that's your soul speaking. That's the beauty the world can feel, even if they don't know where it comes from. What have we really learned here? That suffering isn't meaningless. It's soul work. It strips away the surface and reveals the sacred. It destroys illusions and builds depth. It humbles, but it also awakens. And most importantly, it connects us, strengthens us, and transforms us. Now, here's what I want to ask you. Which part of this resonated with you the most? Have you ever gone through something painful that ended up revealing your true self? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more eye-opening insights. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and stay limitless.